Hi everyone, welcome back to AFTV, welcome back to another Tactical Insight. It's our fourth win on the bounce that we are going to be breaking down today. It is just me, I say it is just me today. Graham couldn't make it in today, but we look forward to having him back for the Leicester game next week. I say we because he has sent in a load of prep, a load of notes, some great sort of takes and stuff, so I'll be breaking down some of the stuff that he kind of saw from the game as well. Putting that to you guys, and of course, as always, will be in the comment section, as he is as well all the time, answering your questions, sort of just discussing what it is you guys thought about the game, the tactical approach, some of the things that went our way, some things that didn't, some of the goals we conceded. So yeah, we'll go into it all, because Arsenal went to Watford in another pressurised situation. I think when, quite frankly, there's nothing else to play for. We're not in Europe. We've been knocked out the cups. We knew that the emphasis was on the Premier League and this challenge and charge for that place in the top four. We have our hands on it right now, but there is a tricky run coming, and there are some hard games in hand. Spurs and United have been doing us favours, but let's credit Arsenal, because they've been doing their job, and they have been for a while. I'm going to go into what I mean by that in a sec. But they won. They went to Vicarage Road, won 3-2. Should have been more convincing. The result doesn't really paint the full picture. In fact, I don't think the match stats do, and let's go into them immediately, because you can see here a 3-2 win, brilliant. 16 shots to their 13. I was at the game thinking, I look forward to seeing these stats, because I feel like we're going to see Watford did have quite a few attempts on our goal. In fact, they had more shots on target, 7 to our 4. We had more of the ball. That's A, to be expected, but B, what I kind of saw on the eye as well. And that means more passes. And when you look at their XG as well, they scored a higher XG than us. So I'm looking at it thinking, but, you know, lower XG, but, you know, I felt we were the better team, and we were. And I think it's a similar thing to that Wolves game at home, and probably the Brentford game. Arsenal have been playing some really nice football, interchanging football. It was fluid. It was creating openings, and what Arsenal haven't quite mastered yet is the ability to turn this football in these openings into really good efforts at goal, forcing saves from keepers and feeling like we're really, really knocking on the door and applying the pressure. And I think we do in terms of possession, in terms of dominating space and getting into the right areas, but we're not always getting those shots at goal, and that's obviously what XG is measured on. So the match stats suggest a 3-2. You know, a 3-2 scoreline is probably fair, but I think watching the game over the 90 minutes, Arsenal were in control, were the better side, and you felt like probably had more gears to go up, really, and with a little bit more quality in the final third. I mean, listen, we showed a lot of quality in the final third in that game against Watford, but with a little bit more efficiency. Again, we were efficient. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I think some of the openings we had, some of the attacks we had running at their defence, some of the football we played, we needed to maybe make a little bit more of those chances, and that's why maybe the match stats reflect a slightly tighter game. But we did win, and we were the better team, and we were fairly convincing, in my opinion, anyway. So worth discussing what Arsenal did to assert their dominance against Watford, a side that went to United and got a point, defended well. Listen, they've not been great all season, but they've got some talent in the front three, and they've got some experience in the midfield three. So Arsenal did have to, you know, be at their best or near their best to you know, cause them problems, and they did. And this is how. So this is actually what I've got here, is the exact shape in the build-up to Arsenal's first goal. Now, we're going to break down that first goal in a little bit, but I want to start by talking about the shape, because we've spoken about in previous shows Arsenal moving towards a 4-3-3, Odegaard playing much more as a right central midfielder, Saka playing as a left central midfielder. They both get very high. And this is their positioning. Usually when we're showing shape, we kind of put together a rough picture of what it looked like throughout the 90. This is the exact shape for Arsenal's first goal. So there's quite a lot of stuff to look at here. Let's do it in yellow. Actually, no. Let's do it in green, because we've got Watford players in yellow. We'll show the right side of the pitch in green. We've got Odegaard there, Bukayo Saka and Cedric. And then in, let's give him a blue, the left side of the pitch, Martinelli, Granit Xhaka and Kieran Tierney. Now, Arsenal played a lot of their football through the channels. The idea being that if you are able to open the opposition up by hugging the touchline, there's more space for players to have more joy in central areas. We saw Partey get a few efforts at goal. There were times where we were playing through the lines brilliantly. And I think it's because Odegaard and Xhaka really do make a conscious effort to get out wide and help their fullbacks and their wingers. And in their positioning with this goal, which again we're going to break down in a sec, it was very, very similar. But what it also allows is for Partey to get the ball in central areas and be able to spring a pass forward into Lacazette's feet, into Xhaka, into Martin Odegaard, and the width is held, which means the fullbacks are either having to come out wide, leave areas in central spaces, or it means that their wingers are having to drop really far back as well. So hugging the touchline was key, especially because I don't think Vicarage Road is the biggest pitch. And Arsenal made sure throughout the whole game to make those interchanges in wide areas and cause them problems. And we see it in the first goal. Let's break it down. So here we are, the exact same picture as I've mentioned before. And I should mention how high Xhaka and Odegaard are as well. They were getting forward a lot, especially because, as I said, the wingers are hugging the touchline, so they're not getting in those half spaces to receive the ball. That's on the central midfielders to do. And let's play the goal out, because Ben White finds Cedric. It does take a deflection on the way there. And what Cedric does really well with this goal, it's all one touch between him, Saka, Odegaard. It's all quick. They're not looking after the ball. What I mean by looking after the ball, they're not taking a touch and then, looking at where the player's going to be, trying to execute it. They know what to do. It's become quite seamless. They've become much better at it, at combining it this way throughout the season. It's one touch into Saka, one touch into Odegaard, lovely back heel into Saka, who takes a touch and cuts it back for Odegaard, who also takes a touch in the box, to be fair, but he gets his effort on goal. It's a lovely finish. He takes a touch and finds the far corner. But what I really like about this goal, we take it back a touch more, is when it goes into Saka, what Odegaard has done here, and this is again where I talk about Arsenal using the space really, really well in wide areas. Cedric's given it to Bukayo Saka. Kamara, their left-backs, had to come all the way across to try and press him. Cleverly, the left central midfielders come all the way across to Cedric, because they had a narrow front three, Watford. They were very compact. Pedro and Hernandez, you can see they're basically within the width of the penalty area. And in Odegaard's run, where he started quite central and high, he's come inside and pulled the centre-back out. Watford were trying to press and chase us. But because they show their quality, they show their skill, they're able to retain the ball. Once this bit of skill happens, Luzo, who is playing in central midfield, is having to come all the way across to Saka and slot into basically the back four, as you see there. Sissoko's not there to cover. Dennis is a striker. Cleverly's come all the way out wide, and the space is there for Odegaard to attack. We mentioned the cutback and the finish. And it was a really, really, really lovely opening goal for Arsenal. A lot of debate about whether it was the best goal of the day. Listen, I think we're going to have to give that to Cucho Hernandez for his volley. Unbelievable strike. From an Arsenal perspective, it was definitely one. I think it's the one Arteta will be most pleased with, because it's off the training field. It's what Arsenal have been trying to do all season, is combine well in those wide areas and break teams down in those wide areas to make space centrally. So I think Arteta will be most happy with that goal. But then you're talking about Bukayo Saka's goal, what a finish, and then the one touch for Odegaard, Lacazette, Martinelli, perhaps. Yeah, let us know in the comment section what was the best Arsenal goal of the day for you. Before we go into the other goals, though, let's go through Martin Odegaard's match stats, because he did get that first goal. Pass accuracy of 91%, 31 passes in the final third, created 4 chances, 31 ball recoveries and 5 duels won as well. He is so good defensively. He starts the press, he gets involved, he tracks back to tackle. His work ethic is superb. And Martin Odegaard, for everything he's doing on the ball, and he was unplayable at times on the ball, he was my man of the match despite Saka's phenomenal involvement. I just felt everything went through Odegaard, and massive credit to him, and his numbers were very impressive as well. Let's talk about Bukayo Saka's goal, the second goal for Arsenal. We got pulled back to 1-1. Don't think the Arsenal team panicked. The Arsenal fans didn't panic. They kept singing and cheering on the players, shouting, "Come on, Arsenal," getting behind them. I think everyone could sense that Arsenal were in the ascendancy, and that Watford just scored a great goal. Sometimes there's nothing you can do about it. And Arsenal did, after weathering 5 minutes of pressure from Watford, did begin to assert their dominance again. Now, what I liked about Saka's goal is not only the finish, which is brilliant, and the link up with Lacazette, lovely layoff, and the finish was superb, but it's the press, and it's how he sense the opportunity. Gabriel plays a loose pass, and Saka, they're not sort of sitting there, hands in the air, what are you doing, bad pass, worrying about it. He's there chasing the ball immediately. Graham sent me a great stat, which I really like. It says, Arsenal are now third for successful team pressing efficiency when they press with 2 or more players. So in the league of 20 teams, Arsenal rank third when 2 or more players are going to press the ball. In terms of our efficiency and our ability to win it back, that is really good. Arsenal over the years, we've seen the Liverpools, the Man Cities, Guardiola, Klopp redefining football, this pressing style, the Gegenpress, the great teams of the last 5-10 years have pressed brilliantly. Barcelona, Bayern Munich, City and Liverpool. Modern managers adopt that style now, and Arsenal haven't been very good over the last decade. We haven't been very good. We've shown moments of it, but we've really struggled to be a good pressing side, and we're becoming a lot better at it, or at least we're being a lot more efficient. And what I like is that Arteta's on the touchline as well, almost conducting and directing. I said in my fan cam, there were moments where Arsenal went to press, and he just said, no, slow down. I was at the game, so I was watching him a lot, Arteta. And he would just say, no, slow down, you don't need to press now. And I think being able to just dictate from the touchline when to go, when not to go, being able to look at the team from a distance and almost orchestrate it, I think that helps them a lot. And that's why, while I've been critical about Arteta being so animated on the touchline at times, there's no doubt they look to his instruction and look to his direction. And you can see a little stat like that tells you that Arsenal are improving massively when it comes to that. And speaking of Arteta's involvement, you got to talk about the third goal. Gabriel Martinelli. Listen, it's a lovely finish. It's a lovely touch from Odegaard into Lacazette. It's a lovely setup and it's a great finish. It's quality. It could break down at any moment there because of the throw-in from Bukayo Saka. It's perfectly weighted into Cedric's feet, who finds Odegaard, who finds the touch into Lacazette. There's a lot of skill, like raw skill and quality in that goal. But my favourite bit about it was almost the wavelength that the Arsenal team were all on. And what I mean by that is the ball goes out for a throw-in and Mikel Arteta's straight over to get the ball. I didn't notice it at the time till I watched it back, and actually Cecil pointed it out in my fan cam with him. So Arteta runs to get the ball, catches it, throws it to Saka, and he's directing me saying, throw it quickly. And in that time, whether he's got a shout from Arteta or not, Cedric has powered down the right wing, because he's sensed that the space is there to attack. And what I love is that kind of understanding between all three of them. Cedric bombing on, Saka with a quick throw, and Arteta sensing the opportunity. They all played a part in that goal, and I love it. And there's a sense of, as I said, unity, everyone on the same wavelength, everyone had the same sense for the opportunity in that situation, and they took complete advantage of it. And obviously, well done to Martinelli. Lacazette for the assist as well, but Martinelli for a really great finish. And while it wasn't his best game, he definitely showed moments of quality, and that goal was one of those moments. So, big credit to Martinelli, terrific as well. But there's 2 other players I need to go through their numbers because they were terrific, they were outstanding. Thomas Partey against Watford, we see in this graphic here, ended the game ranking first for passes with 69, first for duels won with 8, first for aerial duels won with 3, and first as well for 3 take-ons. Thomas Partey was... Listen, I didn't even think it was his best game, but that's almost a really good sign for Partey. He's getting through it comfortably. He's getting through it and just keeping everything ticking. I said everything goes through Odegaard, and I think in terms of what we make of the final third, absolutely. But in terms of our build-up play, getting the ball off the back 4, getting us up the pitch, it's Thomas Partey. And we have seen players step into his role when he's been missing and struggle because it's such a difficult position. You're asking him to be a lone holding midfielder, lone pivot, getting the ball off the defenders and being the springboard, getting us forward. And he's been doing it brilliantly, really, since December. He's been superb. And I love watching this guy. And I think we're nearing the best of Thomas Partey now. We saw it in that City game. We've seen it in a few other performances. Against Wolves, brilliant as well. I think we are seeing close to the best Thomas Partey, and it's brilliant. Well done to him, and got to talk about Bukayo Saka as well and his numbers. We mentioned his goal, we mentioned his lovely assist, right-footed assist. He loves it. I mean, his right foot is brilliant, isn't it? Whether he scores or assists, he's got superb technique on both feet. But again, his numbers: 67 touches, 25 passes in the final third, 6 crosses, 4 duels won, and 2 chances created. And again, I mentioned the throw-in as well, quick thinking. Bukayo Saka is an absolute sensation. We are so lucky to have him. We're very lucky to have a lot of these young players. And you think we've done the last couple of games without Smith Rowe as our top goal scorer. So I think that tells you a lot. And I'm not just resting on my laurels when it comes to these players. And everyone's talking about them being a year older and 2 years older in a couple of years and what they'll be like. I'm looking forward to as well adding Murray Hutchinson to the mix. Charlie Patino, Flo Balogun, I thought had a good cameo against Tottenham the other day, and Charlie Patino. These youngsters are doing really, really well, and they deserve massive credit to be performing at the levels they are this consistently in the Premier League. And when I mean consistently, because Saka's been doing it over 2.5 years now, it's really impressive. Yeah, we're very lucky to have him. He's our star boy, absolutely. And we have a few youngsters that we can get really excited about. Give them some quality in the summer, and they can absolutely thrive and take Arsenal to where we as fans believe they belong. But yeah, I think these youngsters can get to the top. So well done to them. Let's just end on a couple other points. There's a positive and a negative. I'll touch on the negative, and that being Arsenal's defending. Another great stat in from Graham. 13 errors have been made that have led to a shot on goal in the Premier League in Arsenal's 25 league games this season. It's far too many. It's, I believe, the most of any team. I think my bad if I've got that wrong. Graham, let me know in the comment section. But that is a lot of errors leading to shots. And Arsenal, I understand we play a very high risk, high reward game. There were times where Gabriel lost the ball because he's trying to play out the back. Because if you can play out the back successfully, you're more likely to be running at the Watford defence. So I understand that is part of the game plan. I completely understand that is what Arteta wants the team to do. But we just need to be a little crisper on the ball. Now, I thought against Watford generally we were very good with the ball. I don't think we're making too many errors, but how do I explain it? Even one is too many, is I guess what I'm trying to say. And it ultimately led to a goal. I think Granit Xhaka loses the ball when he tries to switch past. But I will say that can happen. I think the biggest error is actually in Ramsdale and Ben White's dealing with the situation. Benjamin White, who I thought was terrific all game, up until that moment with the second goal for Watford. He should just be doing better. Moussa Sissoko is not a particularly tricky player. He plays off power. You should have known he's going to take a touch and just try to wrestle himself a shot on goal. And it wasn't great from White. I felt overcommitted. It's not the first time we've seen that from him. But I will say, been in terrific form. And again, for 90 minutes or 89 minutes, that game was really, really good again. Aaron Ramsdale, it's gone under him at the near post. Not his best performance. But you can still see his quality in some of his delivery, some of his passing, commands his box really well. So, listen, I'm sure they'll learn from that, and it's good to make those errors in victories. They'll learn from it, and they'll build. And we've got to remember, in fact, Graham made this point in the notes. He said to me, it's a young team. They're going to make errors, absolutely. But they seem to be now doing enough at the other end to get us past those errors, cut out the errors, and then these results will start looking a lot more comfortable. Let me leave on another positive. And I'll bring up this graphic here, which I think is really interesting. It's actually a tweet from Rohan. Check him out on Twitter, RJ Arsenal blog. I'm going to read his tweet out first, and then I'll sort of bring on to a little bit of some number crunching Graham did. So Rohan tweeted this, interesting small thread, said, "This isn't a blip. This Arsenal performing over 49 game sample size of Premier League games where they've managed to take 94 points. Yes, that's 95 points. You can't fluke that. If you're not able to see it when watching the games, just look at the numbers, progress." I think he's absolutely spot on. He goes on to explain a little bit more. He says, why sample it to the last 49 games? Because I'm looking at how the team is performing when the manager has been given an opportunity to utilise a more favourable system. Smith Rowe becoming available on Boxing Day 2020, who was the only creator we had. That's the context. And up until that point, Arsenal were playing a 4-4-2 with Lacazette in the 10. They were playing a back three, kind of hybrid system with Saka at left wing back. That was the day Saka went to right wing against Chelsea 1-3-1. Smith Rowe came into the team. Martinelli was back. And we started to see much more. I think even Xhaka was playing a slightly more advanced role in that game with El Neni sitting deep. We started to see what Mikel Arteta. I think that was the day. I remember the rumours that Arteta was basically, if he lost, he was probably out of the job. And that was, I think, the day he went, right, that's it, I'm doing it my way. And we didn't really see as much of players like Willian and stuff after that. And And Arsenal won that game, and the form since then has been brilliant. So to take it back to this graphic, Graham did some number crunching. This rate of return is an average of 1.94 points per game, which if maintained hits 73.67 points over a 38-game season. Man United finished second last season with 74. Now, I think 73, 74 this season is going to get you top four. I think the last couple teams who've made it third and fourth have been getting 66, 69, 64 points, whatever it is. So if Arsenal maintain this rate of return, they will get Champions League football. I'm very confident of that. So hopefully they do, but we know we do have a tricky run of games to come with Villa away, Leicester at home, Liverpool at home. Then we go to Palace, who are in great form. So let's just take it game by game. But there is a big sample size here. In fact, the anomaly in the results is actually those 3 games at the start of the season when we didn't have our full team, when we didn't have Tomiyasu in the door. We had players out because of COVID and injuries and all that. And we remember the hoo-ha around Arsenal. Hey, I was one of them. I was really stressed about what our season was going to look like, but they've turned it around and they've maintained, or in fact bettered on the form that they ended last season. And yes, we only finished 8th. We had a lot of work to do because of how bad that start of the season was. But they did turn it around, and Arsenal now looking in very decent shape as we enter this top 4 run. That's pretty much it from me, guys. Shame Graham couldn't be here. He'll be back next week, though. He does send his apologies, and I know he'd have loved to have been here to break it down, but he will be back next week. As I said, we'll be in the comment section discussing, debating all this with you guys. Go check out RJ Arsenal blog, Rohan on Twitter as well. Really interesting sort of number crunching he did there in terms of looking at the 95 points we've collected since Smith Rowe came into the first team against Chelsea that day. Arsenal looking in good shape. Hopefully they maintained it. If you enjoy this video, as always, smash a like on the video. It really does help us out. Of course, we're trying to make more content for you, trying to bring more Arsenal analysis, bring more voices from the fans. So yeah, smash a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. And check out the Bars Premier League show coming up very, very soon. Ty's in the building. I know he's looking forward to chatting all things Arsenal, Man United. I'm sure he's got a few things to say about people too, as he always does. There he is with his thumbs up. Guys, we'll see you next time. Thanks very much.